And welcome back to Winning with Wiseman. And I have a special guest in the studio with me today, and I'm really excited. Derek Bromstead, welcome to the show. I'm so excited. Tell us a little about who you are at Wiseman and why everyone should be so excited that you're on the show with us today.
Well, thanks, Alex. I appreciate being on the show. And yeah, the what I do is I basically try to help people solve their office problems, right?
Yeah.
And get them the space of their dreams. So I'm the director of leasing and transactions for Wiseman Commercial, and I have been for the last 3 years or so. So one of the things that we do for people that are looking for office space is we can provide them with the customized, perfect space for their needs, anywhere from 1,000 square feet all the way up to 40,000 square feet. I mean, we have a building right now that we purchased about a year and a half ago, and we have it, about 40% filled up, but we certainly have plenty of room for those larger tenants. So not a problem for us. And again, we're super easy to work with and super sometimes fun to work with as well. So we try to make all realities happen for our tenants.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And if you are trying to figure out how to get the perfect space to fit for you and you just feel frustrated because you just can't figure it out, well, stay tuned because we're going to tell you exactly how to do that. And the great thing is, we've had a couple different episodes and more to come with Winning with Wiseman. And you know what I've heard over and over again is that the space has been perfect for them. And as we dug into that conversation, either on the podcast or off podcast, it sounds like you guys don't sell spots, you make the spot perfect for the tenant.
We do, and that's a really good point because again, we want to understand what their needs are first and foremost, because that's the most important thing. And then once we understand what their needs are, we can oftentimes translate that into the space that they're gonna need. Now, sometimes, of course, it's going to take a couple of iterations on that, and we're going to have to work with them very closely. But overall, we try to make the process very easy for them, very, very quick, painless, certainly, as much as possible. And just, try to give them, the Zen-like space that they crave and that they can spend 8 hours a day in and, 5 days, 6 days a week, or maybe even more. So that's what we really strive to do.
Yeah, a lot of people say your business where you do work is like your second home. And to have a spot where you feel so comfortable is so key, especially when you own and run a business and there's already a lot of stress. Having someone to go out of the way to understand and listen to you, that's a huge difference, right? And that's what winning with Wiseman looks like, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit, because I know you have some stories. We talked about this, and you're talking about all these people you've helped. What are some of your favorite tenants you've worked with and the before and after? Like, give us some examples, because I think there are going to be people listening to this podcast or watching this video going, well, what does that actually mean when you make a space ours or unique to us? Aren't they, can I just like walk in through the door and start right away?
Well, you can, and certainly there's opportunities to do that at many of our locations. But when you want to make it unique to when they want to make it unique to their particular business, it takes a little bit of a higher level of understanding. For instance, we had a men's health clinic that wanted to come into one of our buildings, and the space that they were looking at was completely open, completely empty. There was nothing in there at all whatsoever, really wide open. And the owner really was having a hard time trying to figure out, like, and visualize what the space could look like.
Mhm.
So what I did is, took a couple of floor plans. At first, talked to them. Okay, so they needed a lab. They needed, a certain number of offices. They needed some exam rooms. They needed a storage area. And I went back and just, mocked up a quick floor plan for them and, showed it to them. And I think the first comment that she said was, "Oh my God, this is almost perfect." And I said, "Okay, well, what could make it a little bit more perfect?" And all she wanted to do was just flip the lab in one of the offices, and voila, it was like she had perfectly envisioned this, this new office space. And the feedback that I've gotten from them, recently is that they love working there, and it's a beautiful space and
Yeah,
very operational.
I had the pleasure of touring because you showed me one of those locations, and I was stunned when I walked in. I was like, "Wow, this is such a nice place. The artwork looks great. They did so much to elevate even what you did as far as like the design, and it felt like when I walked in there, this had always existed. It was like that perfect fit. Like this, they just moved into a perfectly ready spot, and it was custom built for them,
Yep.
which I think is huge. And like you said, they've done so much. Like they're so busy now. They have plenty of space to work. They're very comfortable, and they can handle that workload now because it's specifically designed to meet their needs. Right?
Yes. And I have to give a lot of credit to the construction team because, quite honestly, they are the ones that take what I, put on paper, and they make it and turn it into reality. And they do it so quickly and efficiently. And like you said, it comes out just looking stunning. So I have to give a lot of credit, to them as well too, because they do a magnificent job of getting it right the first time.
So help us understand, and this would be great. And I know you do this day in and day out, so it's just normal for you. But let's
Yeah.
pretend that us on the other side of this conversation, we just don't even know how to begin to have that conversation, right?
Right.
How would someone like us or someone watching or listening to this podcast even start down this journey of finding an office space? Obviously, Wiseman is where we want them to start, but like really communicating to you what their want and desire is. How do we even start that conversation?
Yeah. I mean, I can give you an example of a recent lease that I did with a home health company. So we toured actually probably 6 spaces that could all have worked. The one thing that I wanted to understand is, in addition to offices, in this particular instance, the tenant wanted to get separation inside of their office because there were two businesses, and so they needed to separate the two businesses, from the get go. So that conversation just really started by me asking questions. Okay, so how are you going to use the space? Do you have other people coming in? Are people going to be visiting you? Are you going to have to um, you know, meet with people? Are do you need to have other people in a conference room? Do you need a break room? Do you need, what are their needs? And then, it's a lot of times it's a pretty flowing conversation from there.
Yeah.
But it has to start with, okay, let's ask the tough questions. Let's figure out what is exactly is needed, and then we go from there.
That's awesome. Which I think for a lot of people, there's a hesitation, like, I don't even know. And they're afraid to ask because they don't want to look like they don't know what you're talking about. But
Yeah,
that's
right.
what you're there for, right?
Yes.
You're
Yes.
there to help guide that conversation and help
Yeah.
because you showed me some of the stuff you did, like with the men's health. You actually drew out a floor plan. They didn't come with you a
No.
plan, right?
No.
You sat down and gave them something to look at, right?
Yeah. And, even in the case of this home health care facility, th- we went to a wide open space at one of our buildings at Campus Lane, and she was having such a hard time visualizing because there aren't currently any walls there,
Yeah.
or many walls, I should say. And so, for her, it was very, very difficult, to just visualize how the space could actually look. And so, again, it comes with floor plans. It comes with me standing there, going, okay, this is, do you visualize like this is the wall right here?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, whatever it takes, to have them. And I even had like their assisting broker, stand what, going like this, and like whatever it takes to help them visualize and understand how their space is going to look like eventually is what I need to do.
Yeah, and I love that because that is the unique difference. As we've gotten to know you guys and we had the show, one thing that comes up over and over and over again about Wiseman, and this is why we created Winning with Wiseman, is you guys partner with these businesses.
Right.
You're not the typical landlord who is there to sell a space. You're there to partner and go, how do we make sure the right space fits you perfectly?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, the right space. We even, go so far as to say once you're in your space, we partner with them as well. From that perspective to try to help them, get business. And if they're starting up, how can we help you promote, what you're doing? So yes, we absolutely 100% partner with them from the first minute that we talk to you. We view it as a partnership arrangement from the get go.
So, if you're like many of our listeners who are listening to our podcast or watching us on YouTube, you have questions about how to get the perfect spot for your business because we both know that having the perfect spot for your business can be the make or break for making money, right? And with Derek here, he is the guy, he has all the information about getting the perfect fit for your business. So I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Derek, tell us a little bit about Wiseman and how long you guys have been in business to give us an idea of whether we can be a trusted company or not.
Well, the business itself was started by Doyle Wiseman about 50 years ago.
Mhm.
So it's a family run business. It's been a family run business. And he actually started the business with flipping houses.
Mm.
So but then he moved into commercial real estate and built the first commercial building in downtown Napa that Napa has ever had. So that was one of the first buildings that he ended up building. And you know, he built the company into a company that does everything. We do development, we do our own property management. Obviously, we do our leasing, and we also are a general contractor. So we can build the TIs ourselves very quickly, and oftentimes much more affordably than anybody else from the outside can do. So it's a company that has been able to just combine all these services to make us a trusted business partner. And that's what we like to consider ourselves as. And we like to have our tenants as truly as business partners. Even to the fact where, I'll go out on a yearly basis, and even though they're not doing a lease renewal, we'll do something called a tenant relationship management meeting, where we just go in there and just have the conversation. How's it going? How's business? What can we be doing to help you more? What are there any issues, with anything surrounding, your office space? We like to, and then just get to know them, talk about, hey, are there any milestones with your kids, and we do that for that. We do that with our barbecues. We have, tenant coffees, as well too. So we're not just saying, oh, you come in, we lease you the space, good luck. We actually want to make sure that the space, even after we've, built it out and, given you the perfect space, that it continues to be the perfect space, for as many years as you stay. And hopefully you stay for a very long time, because that's ultimately what we want you to be, is comfortable so that you can stay for many, many years.
Yeah, and what's crazy is when we've sat down with you guys and looked at all the different tenants you have, it's not just one type of tenant. It's a vast array of everything from, I think you guys have a beer company that you work with, to medical, to retail, to studios, and everything else in between. And I'm sure you have even a bigger list, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, really, we have 7 state agencies. We have a community college, that we're working with. We have basically an oil company that's, from Houston, that has a satellite office in one of our buildings. I mean, you name it, we can do it. And that's the other thing that really sets Wiseman apart is, you're going to win when you have whatever your business is. It's in where you need to be, and it's a good, comfortable space.
Yeah, and we have 11 portfolios, right? You have 11 properties you guys own and manage
Yes.
with anything from 1,000 square foot to bigger if needed, right? We have amazing spots in Napa, right? Downtown Main Street,
Right
Napa.
downtown. Yeah.
We have places in Woodland, in Green Valley, in Fairfield. These are just some of the tops of my head. If you want the whole list, probably reach out to you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And they're all great locations. So, I mean, it's always easy to start having this conversation when you text me 707-505-4583 or call me. We start to talk about like the needs and then the location, because you have a lot to choose from. There's a lot, and we have actually, when some of our tenants have expanded and grown out of the current space that they have, we put them in another space. We put them in another building if there's space available in their building, which oftentimes there isn't because we're full quite a bit, which is a good thing. But we'll find you the right space and we'll make the adjustments necessary to make sure that you're comfortable again.
Yeah, that's amazing. That just goes to the credibility of who you guys are and how you guys deal and help your tenants grow and
Absolutely.
partner with them long term. I love that. So, Derek, obviously I'm going to put this in graphics, but just for our audience sake, for those who may not be watching a video, can you give us a way to contact you? How should people reach out to you and get started in this amazing journey of finding the perfect office space, the perfect retail space? How should they start?
I mean, the easiest way is just give me a call on my cell phone, 707-505-4583. And let's start the conversation, and that's the easiest way to get things rolling right off the bat.
And that's text messaging Derek directly for all your needs for office spaces or, having a good party, having a good time. He'll be there to make it amazing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he'll bring all the goodies.
Text me, call me, whatever's easiest. I'm there.
Yeah. Make sure you throw a text to Derek at Wiseman and get started on your journey of finding the perfect space for your business. Win with Wiseman.